You did just make this trip to Ukraine. You were the only Republican presidential candidate to have done so, and you met with President Zelensky. He is being very clear that when NATO leaders meet this month, he expects clear steps and an invitation to join the Western military alliance. If you were president, would you make that pledge to a country that's currently at war with Russia?
I'm someone that believes that it's absolutely essential that the United States continue to provide military support to the Ukrainian military to push back on Russian aggression. Because if Russia were able to overrun Ukraine, I think it would not be long before Vladimir Putin ordered his troops across the border that under NATO we would be required to send men and women in uniform. It is not in our interest to send American forces into Ukraine, and I would never support it. And as I met with President Zelensky, he made it clear that he's not looking for that. And I have reason to believe, Margaret, that when NATO meets in a few weeks in Vilnius, that President Zelensky would be open to a conditional invitation to membership in NATO, namely saying that Ukraine will be a member of NATO once the war is over, once the war is won. I mean, I really do believe it's essential that America continue to lead, that our allies provide Ukraine with the support they need.
On the Afghanistan issue, the State Department just released a report Friday, an after-action report that did fault the Biden administration for a number of missteps, but it also faulted the Trump administration, saying the Trump administration had insufficient senior-level consideration of worst-case scenarios when it agreed to the withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2020. President Trump signaled his desire to end the military presence before even reaching a deal with the Taliban. There was no plan or effort to help at-risk Afghans or plan for what to do with diplomats after withdrawal happened. Just a lack of planning. Do you accept that the Trump administration bears some responsibility for this chaos?
Margaret, I don't, because I know what the deal was that was negotiated with the Taliban. I mean, it was made very clear. I was in the room when President Trump told the leader of the Taliban, he said, look, you're going to have to cooperate with the Afghan government. You don't harbor terrorists, and you don't harm any American soldiers. We went 18 months without a single American casualty to the day at that Kabul airport that we lost 13 brave American service members. The blame for what happened here falls squarely on the current commander-in-chief. And under our administration, I promise you that while it was the intention of the president, the former president, to pull our troops out, when the Taliban broke the deal and moved into Mazar al-Sharif, and Joe Biden did nothing, that set into motion the catastrophe that became Afghanistan.
Are you saying there that you would have kept the troops beyond the 2020 deal? Is that what you're saying?
Well, look, candidly, it was always my belief that it would be prudent to keep a couple of thousand American forces there to support our efforts against terrorist elements, both in Afghanistan and in the region. And I think we ultimately would have done that. Just as the president announced the former president announced we were pulling troops out of Syria. You remember I was sent to Turkey to negotiate a ceasefire, and ultimately there's still American forces in Syria today. I think we would have landed in that place